Hey, my name's Keith. I have recently had PRK on my left eye, and like anybody today, I did a lot of research beforehand and have done a lot of research since then trying to figure out what to expect and if what I'm going through is normal. I have unfortunately not been able to find anyone out there, whether it's on YouTube or even just blogs and things like that, where someone talks about their experience with PRK to correct farsightedness, or I think hyperopia is what they call it. The eye doctors, what they call it. Farsightedness is what most people know it as. In 2005, I was 27 years old, I think I was, and I had LASIK on both of my eyes to correct farsightedness. The doctors at that time told me to expect a long recovery, that my vision would go very, very bad for a while, and it would slowly start to come back in. That's exactly what happened. For about a month or so after the surgery, I couldn't see anything. I mean, letters that would be like a foot tall, posted up on a sign on a wall or something like that, I couldn't read from a distance of maybe 50 feet. But I was seeing progress pretty much every day until about probably 3 or 4 months later, I was seeing perfectly. And they told me that as time went on, that it might be possible that I would have to have a touch-up surgery and maybe would need glasses or contacts again. And they were right. I think I made it until about the year 2012, so maybe about 7 or 8 years, something like that, until I needed to start wearing glasses again. Tried to go back to contacts, but couldn't do it. Couldn't find any that I could wear all day, that felt comfortable, and was dealing with quite a bit of dryness. So I was stuck with glasses. And then last year, one of my eye doctors at an exam told me that maybe I should consider PRK. And so my right eye was fine and could see just perfectly with that. My left eye is the one that was kind of going out on me a little bit. So I started looking into it and went to a couple of places. I live in the Dayton, Ohio area, so I looked at a couple of places and got quotes and had them check me out to see if I could have PRK. And sure enough, yeah, they said you're a candidate and we can do it. And so I decided on one of them. And after doing some research, it sounded like it was a good thing and that it might be able to help me. And what I did find though is that PRK does come with a much longer recovery time than LASIK did, and so I was kind of expecting that, and a little more pain and a longer recovery time, all that kind of stuff, to heal from it. But I was also watching a lot of videos on YouTube and reading people's comments and things, and most everybody said that within the first 2 to 3 weeks or so, they were feeling fine. They could see just fine, and everything was great. And so that's kind of what I was expecting. Well, my after PRK, pretty much for the first couple of weeks, everything was pretty much what you would expect. I mean, I had the pain like everybody says for the first couple of days, and then a lot of blurriness, the halos and ghosting and all that kind of stuff that people talk about. There was no difference for me. But then a month goes by, 2 months goes by, and I still can't see hardly anything. I had really, really good vision out to about this far from my eye, about an inch to 3 inches. And in fact, I could actually see detail like you wouldn't even believe. I have a smartwatch, and I could actually hold my watch about an inch from my face and just look through my left eye, and I could see detail like I can't hardly even explain. But once I got about more than 2.5 to 3 inches away from my eye, it was just blur and couldn't see anything. Couldn't read street signs. As I was driving, it was difficult. My right eye is so strong, and it was good. I didn't have PRK on it, so I could see just fine. But my brain's getting two signals. One's really good and one's awful, so there were times where I had to kind of drive around with one eye closed, at least for periods. So at about the 2 month point, I did finally start to see some improvement and could start to see a little bit up, kind of like at a reading distance, not very well, but a little bit. And in the mornings it would be good. As the day went on, it got worse and worse. And then all of a sudden one day I woke up and it had just regressed about 2 or 3 weeks worth of progress. So I had gone way back, couldn't read anything up close, everything was blurry. at a distance, couldn't see anything. So I called the doctor, made an appointment, and came in. I knew there'd be fluctuations, but I wasn't expecting a fluctuation quite that drastic. And I went in and they said, yeah, it's, you know, yeah, you can't see, we agree. And I said, well, thanks, for your help with that. And they basically just told me that, this is kind of the way it is for farsighted people, and it's going to be slow, and, it can take 6 months to a year to get better. And so I was just trying to be patient. And then about the 3-month point, which was just a little over a week ago, I did actually finally start to see some pretty significant improvement. I could read at a normal reading distance. I could start to see street signs. I could, like when I would pull up to an intersection and I could read the stop sign, it was pretty clear, and that was an improvement, something new. And then things were finally starting to get better. And then this week, which this past Thursday, I think, was 3 months and 1 week since the surgery. Today is Saturday. I think about on Tuesday of this week, I woke up and my PRK eye was so dry. I've never felt dryness like this in my life. It was so dry that it literally hurt. It was painful. And I was able to put some drops in it to help out. And then after about 10 minutes or so, it finally started to feel better. But my vision went crazy again. I could kind of read up close, but anything beyond a normal reading distance was blurry like it was about a month ago. And today, and now it's been about 4 days since that happened, and it is finally starting to come in a little bit. And I've got a book here, and if I hold it at a kind of reading distance, I can actually see. I mean, I can read from here, but if I get out, more than about a foot or so, it's blurry again. Things at a distance are blurry. When I'm driving license plates, I mean, it's blurry. So here we are, it's been a little over 3 months, and I'm still struggling with not being able to see very well. I'm not noticing the halos and ghosting quite as much as I was. So I guess maybe there's some things to be said about some improvement there. But anyhow, why am I posting this? Well, I feel like there's got to be other people out there who are farsighted, who are considering PRK or LASIK, and I just thought, I can't find anybody, so maybe somebody else is looking too. Well, here's my story. Basically, the LASIK was okay, but since I had LASIK, the dryness, I've never been able to go back to contacts. And before I had LASIK, I could wear contacts just fine. My vision was fine, but I thought, well, let's get the surgery, and then I won't have to worry about contacts. I never have to spend money on them again. Well, pretty much now I would like to go back and just say, never mind, let's just not do the LASIK and stick with contacts because they work fine and you can wear them and just stay with them. You don't have to deal with the dryness. And now I've had PRK to touch up my left eye, and at least at this point, 3 months and a week, I'm not exactly pleased. I'm hoping it gets better, and maybe if it does get better, I'll update, put another video on here so people can see. But if you're thinking about LASIK or PRK and you're farsighted, my advice to you would be to really give this some serious thought. If you're okay with wearing glasses, or if you're okay with wearing contacts, you may just want to stick with that and not mess with the risks involved with the surgery. If you're nearsighted, I don't know, there's tons of videos out there. Pretty much everyone I've found that's nearsighted people, they have wonderful stories. They can see fine within a day or two, and everything's great. So if you're nearsighted, great, whatever. But if you're farsighted, you may want to give this some thought. So hope that helps.